It's not safe for me, it's not safe for anybody.
A group of teenagers, one of them as young as 13, accused of an armed robbery in Patterson Park. How this fits into a pattern that has residents on edge.
The soaring juvenile crime has police, parents, and prosecutors frustrated. A look back at what we've seen this year as a Maryland representative weighs in.
Still more questions than answers nearly 1 month after a raid on a Safe Streets location. Where the investigation stands tonight.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 10.
Good evening and happy Thanksgiving. I'm Mackenzie Frost.
And I'm Jeff Abel. The holiday weekend off to a very violent start. Police say a group of 4 teenagers went on the attack in Patterson Park last night. At least one of them was armed.
This is just the latest example of juvenile crime in the Patterson Park area. Earlier this month, a woman was assaulted and robbed in the Butchers Hill neighborhood. Police arrested 2 juveniles who were sent home hours later.
The skyrocketing juvenile crime has residents in that neighborhood and beyond calling for change tonight.
Fox 45's Vincent Hill joins us live with a closer look at what happened. Vince.
Yeah, Mackenzie and Jeff, a 13-year-old, 2 17-year-olds, and an 18-year-old all arrested for the latest armed robbery in the Patterson Park neighborhood. At the entrance of Patterson Park, just after 6 o'clock Wednesday evening.
In Patterson, possible armed robbery.
The search for the suspects captured on the Citizen app. Fox 45 obtaining this exclusive video of the victim, providing police with a suspect description.
The victim is claiming that the 4 juveniles, high schoolers, dressing all black, went towards the park. They utilized a handgun.
It's just the latest incident of juveniles robbing or assaulting people in the Patterson Park neighborhood. This video shows a woman assaulted and robbed near Patterson Park just after 9:30 earlier this month.
It's not safe for me, it's not safe for anybody.
The suspects, 12 and 14 years old, making off with her car keys.
I was kind of curled up in my
from the ground up. Every single portion of it has to be looked at. I've been talking about that for years now, as you know.
That was more than a month ago. The mayor has not specified what changes he wants to see. And as the mayoral race heats up, former Mayor Sheila Dixon is taking shots at Mayor Scott's crime plan. The mayor firing back.
I have to deal with the city on a regular basis with my clients, and I can see the dysfunction, not in one agency, but practically in every agency. And that is reflected of the leadership, you know, and it's reflected in who you hire, the people that work for you. I've never seen city government so dysfunctional as it is now.
Leadership that's failing the city is almost a laughable comment when my leadership has the city on pace to be under 300 homicides for the first time in 9 years. Investing in our education, opening rec centers, not closing them like the person he's endorsing did when she was mayor.
Many leaders are attributing the drop in homicides to the partnership between State's Attorney Ivan Bates and U.S. Attorney Eric Barron. Both promised a tougher on-crime approach in the city. Well, homicides are down 20% and non-fatal shootings down 9% since the partnership began.
Safe Streets is a centerpiece of Mayor Scott's crime plan, but the program continues to face transparency questions amid an FBI investigation into several employees in one location. Fox 45 is committed to investigating Safe Streets, and tonight we're looking into what we know and what questions remain. FBI agents showed up here at the Bel Air Edison Safe Street site almost a month ago to execute a search warrant. 2 employees also had the FBI show up at their homes. Now, David Caldwell, one of the leaders at this location, he's facing state-level charges, and he's on unpaid leave while his legal troubles play out. Now, the FBI isn't saying very much about the scope of this investigation, but sources close to it tell us that it's involving possible Black guerrilla family gang affiliation. And this federal investigation had us wondering, how deep does this problem go within Safe Streets? Now, BGF started inside prisons in California decades ago, but now it's well known to operate inside and outside of jails here in Maryland. Now, we have some court records showing that in 2010, BGF was working to legitimize itself. And to do that, one BGF leader got money to open a Safe Streets site, and at a different Safe Streets location, there were other BGF members working there too. But we also know that's not all. There's a list of other Safe Streets employees committing crimes. Ronald Alexander pleading guilty to federal drug possession charges and trying to use his Safe Streets employment to get out of a traffic stop with BPD. Vernon Harper, or Diddy, he pleaded guilty in October 2022 to federal drug distribution charges and again while working for Safe Streets. And in 2018, Ricky Evans admitted to using a Safe Streets site as a meeting place for BGF. In his plea agreement, he also admitted to stashing guns and drugs at that location. And then there's the case of Damon Scroggins. Ronald Brady Jr. was accused of killing Scroggins in 2019. In 2020, Brady Jr. went to trial, but it ended in a hung jury. Brady Jr. was eventually acquitted of Scroggins' murder, but Scroggins' family has some pretty harsh words for the Safe Streets program. Take a listen.
My belief is that our city government is financing a criminal enterprise. I believe that within my heart. Our city government is so invested in it that it's turning a blind eye to what it really is.
And that brings us here to City Hall and the lack of transparency from Baltimore city leaders when it comes to the Safe Streets program. Mayor Brandon Scott won't release the names of the Safe Streets workers, even though the program is funded by tax dollars. These crime issues aren't the only concern when it comes to Safe Streets. We've been asking to see the forms used by Safe Streets workers when they conduct their mediations. We also have documentation showing the program spent thousands of dollars in federal COVID money to send some workers to Los Angeles for training. And now we have some city council members calling for an audit of the mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, but that audit has yet to happen. And now there's the issue of who's leading the agency. Right now, it's interim director Stephanie Mavronis, only because Shantae Jackson suddenly announced earlier this year she was leaving. And so far, a permanent director hasn't been named. And now we have the mayor's race. Former Mayor Sheila Dixon challenging incumbent Mayor Brandon Scott. And the two of them have very different views on the Safe Streets program right now.
I think that we need to halt the program. Biggest issue in how it's gotten to this condition is bringing it into City Hall, into city government. It was not a part of city government.
Can't you just direct Monzi to be transparent and hand over the information for the public so they can see what's going on with their tax dollars right now?
Well, I think that Mackenzie, the voters of Baltimore voted to have audits, and they voted to have them in this way. And I can't direct the Department of Audits to do that because they don't work for me.
And that brings us to our question of the day. Should Safe Streets be put on pause until we learn more? Scan this QR code right here and let us know. We'll check back in on the results a little later in the show. In Baltimore, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
It was a beautiful Thanksgiving. We had plenty of sunshine and nice and mild temperatures, but the numbers are quickly starting to fall. We're seeing the 30s and the 40s across the state, but we have nice and clear skies. It really looks good here and around the region. So if you'll be traveling tonight or even tomorrow, it should be pretty nice and quiet as far as the weather is concerned. Over Maryland tonight, our temperatures drop to the upper 30s and the low 40s, but we're setting up for a pretty nice day for Black Friday. I'll have a closer look at what to expect for the day and into the weekend in my Weather Authority forecast. Back to you.
Coming up on Fox 45 News at 10, a Baltimore City tradition continues this Thanksgiving. The Big Annie Thanksgiving Dinner will take you to the 42nd annual event. And one person is dead and a U.S. Park Police officer is in the hospital after a shootout not far from the White House. What led up to the shooting and what we know about the suspects. Retail crime is soaring here in our area and across the nation. The pleas for help from industry leaders. The show. A ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is set to begin in just under 2 hours. Once it starts, 13 civilian hostages are expected to be released by the terrorist group, with more to follow in the coming days. The ceasefire coming a day later than originally planned, as final details of a hostage and prisoner swap are still being worked out. The pause will allow for more humanitarian relief to reach Palestinians, many of whom have been forced from their homes. For Israelis, the deal means a long overdue homecoming for loved ones who were taken hostage by Hamas terrorists.
I really hope that we can do this. I really hope that a deal could be made, and that would be a really amazing picture for Israelis to see finally, after 7 weeks of horrible news, finally some good news. Finally, the kids coming back to their parents and to their home.
50 hostages are supposed to be freed in stages under the deal. 150 Palestinian prisoners will also be exchanged.
Meanwhile, as we gather with our loved ones this holiday, war zones in Europe can feel very far away. National correspondent Kayla Gaskins joins us with the story of 2 Ukrainian sisters celebrating their first Thanksgiving.
Breaking bread with new friends has been at the core of the Thanksgiving holiday since the beginning. That spirit filling this household, where a family of 4 welcomed 2 teenage Ukrainian sisters, a safe haven far from their war-torn homeland. Victoria and Yulia's lives changed forever when the Russians invaded on February 24th, 2022.
You don't know what is going on, and you know, will you live tomorrow or will you die?
Their immediate family all survived those terrifying first days. Some friends, however, weren't so lucky.
Every single person in Ukraine knows at least 3 people who have died in the war. And my best friend was shot by the Russians, and her whole family died.
The girls were quickly sent to safety in Poland, their parents staying behind to help with the war effort. Their mom is a doctor. They returned to Ukraine to start the school year. That fall, the Russians bombed their city.
The ground had shake, and it was really traumatic to see, because sound was loud. It's a moment when you realize that it can affect everyone.
While in Poland, the girls met the American family they're now living with. After their city was attacked, the family offered to bring the girls to the U.S. Their parents agreed.
I really appreciate being here in the United States, but it doesn't matter where you are, you always want to go back home.
They're settling in, learning English, wondering why we use the Fahrenheit system instead of Celsius.
It just doesn't make sense.
Adjusting to the fact Americans smile much more than Eastern Europeans.
They're smiling and they're super friendly, and you love to have small talks.
Yeah.
And it's great. And it's funny. I love it.
We smile and chat a lot.
Yes.
But home is never far from their thoughts.
I know that I am able to make a difference.
As they advocate for their people.
Why is it important for America to help Ukraine?
War in Ukraine is the war for democracy. That's the war for freedom.
How do you think this war has changed you?
Your life is something that you experience today. It's not something that will happen tomorrow, because you don't know if you'll be alive tomorrow.
And so, on their very first American Thanksgiving, Victoria and Yulia are a reminder to us all, no matter how difficult one's circumstances are, there is always so much to be thankful for. I'm Kayla Gaskins reporting.
Coming up, one man is dead, another hospitalized tonight following a shootout in the nation's capital. The details we're learning on that deadly confrontation.
Millions of Americans do it every day, receive packages in the mail. I'm Angela Brown in Washington, D.C. Why some delivery drivers are now warning about the dangers on the job.
For anyone traveling tomorrow, it looks great here, but also around the region. We are talking dry weather, mostly cloudy skies, but overall a pretty good day for driving. You have the green light. Coming up, we'll have a closer look at what to expect for the rest of the weekend and when we could see rain in my Weather Authority forecast.
And as we head to the break, a live look over the Inner Harbor tonight. Beautiful weather, a perfect end to a wonderful Thanksgiving Day. Taking a look now at the Fox Quad box, top left, New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been accused of sexual assault. The accusation dates back to 1993 when Adams and his accuser both worked for the city of New York. He has denied all allegations. Top right, the FBI has ended its investigation into a car wreck at an international border checkpoint at Niagara Falls. 2 people were killed in the fiery crash. Niagara Falls police are now investigating the case as a traffic collision.
Bottom left, a Florida judge says a lawsuit against Tesla and its claims about their autopilot system can move forward. The judge ruling today that there is, quote, reasonable evidence that Tesla owner and CEO Elon Musk and other executives knew the car's autopilot system was defective. Bottom right, evacuated Kentucky residents were allowed to return home tonight after at least 16 freight train cars derailed yesterday, spilling molten sulfur and sparking a fire. Right now, the cause of that incident is still under investigation.
Well, delivering in the dark, early morning Amazon drivers are now raising some safety concerns.
Yeah, the issues come after several confused homeowners had run-ins with unmarked vehicles outside their homes, sometimes as early as 3 a.m. The vehicles belonging to Amazon Flex drivers. National correspondent Angela Brown has the story.
If an Amazon package is delivered to your home after 5 p.m. and before 10 a.m., more than likely, it will not be delivered from a full-time employee in an Amazon car. Instead, by an Amazon Flex worker. Starting as early as 3 in the morning, Amazon Flex workers can sign up to deliver Amazon packages according to their own schedule and in their own cars. But they raise some safety concerns about the job.
Even though we've scheduled ourselves, we do not know where we're going.
Undisclosed driving routes are one concern. Homeowners not expecting unmarked vehicles after hours is another.
Next thing I know, I look up because I felt like somebody was looking at me and he just had a gun pointed at me.
I'm just trying to do my job. We need help because it's our life, trying to provide for our kids and our families.
Last year, Amazon recorded its biggest ever Black Friday weekend sales, generating 128% more revenue on Black Friday than a regular day. And this year, Amazon could reach even greater revenues as record high Black Friday sales are predicted across the board. Keep in mind that Amazon Flex is all year round. And also, according to data by Upgraded Points, the average American spends over $90 a month on Amazon. Reporting in Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
Still ahead, volunteers coming together to give back and share an annual Baltimore City tradition. A look at today's Big Addy Thanksgiving Day dinner.
'Tis the season for retailers to be on high alert. I'm Christine Frizzell with a look at a year that's brought very little cheer amid a rise in organized retail crime.
We're following three big stories at 10:30. A United States Park Police officer is hospitalized and a suspect is dead following a shootout in D.C., the latest incident in a violent year for the nation's capital.
An annual Thanksgiving Day tradition in Baltimore City, now in its 42nd year, how volunteers came together today to prepare meals for those in need.
And ahead of the holiday season, organized retail crime concerns are top of mind for major retailers across the U.S. The lawmaker working to make changes at the federal level.
And that is where we begin. As the holiday season gets into full swing, retailers are hoping for even more revenue to make up for extreme losses caused by organized retail crime.
It's a problem that's been spreading from small towns to big cities, with industry leaders even visiting Washington, D.C. for help. National correspondent Christine Frizzell has the story.
More and more, the pictures speak for themselves and run on repeat. From this Apple store in Philadelphia
free iPhones! Free iPhones!
To this Nordstrom in Los Angeles, and just about everywhere in between. Incidents of organized retail crime are piling up, resulting in more than $112 billion in losses, up from $94 billion the year before, according to the National Retail Federation.
They involve a number of individuals coming in, often instilling fear and even violence against the employees and consumers, and stealing large quantities of merchandise.
The problem has grown so pervasive that Democrats and Republicans on Capitol Hill have joined together on new legislation to fight back, with widespread agreement that penalties for these crimes are too weak.
Right now, the tools at a federal level, even in some states in a local level, shoplifting is a misdemeanor. It's a one-off, so they're usually cited and then let go.
Senator Catherine Cortez Masto joining Republican Chuck Grassley and others to try to crack down on such crimes, which Congresswoman Dina Titus says she witnessed firsthand in a Walgreens.
I said to the sales lady, "Did you see what that guy just did?" She said, "Yeah, he comes in here 2 or 3 times a week, and we can't do anything about it because management is afraid somebody might get hurt."
The hurt, though, hitting communities where stores like this San Francisco Nordstrom have closed, and consumers who witness the violence firsthand and will be the ones to pay more down the line.
Y'all all stupid.
In Washington, I'm Christine Frizzell.
Baltimore City and County have also seen their fair share of retail crime issues. FOX45 News has spoken to experts about the problem, who say Maryland is now in the top 5 states in the country with the highest retail theft rates. Back in July, the owners of Eddie's grocery store in Mount Vernon were forced to close their doors after they say they were victims of violent thefts and had knives pulled on them several times. Lidl Supermarket in Brooklyn Park closed that same month, citing theft as a major factor for that decision. And over this summer, Camden Yards, multiple bars and restaurants outside the park became prime targets for thieves. Several businesses told FOX45 they had registers, money, and alcohol taken from their stores. And the problem not just happening in Baltimore City. Last month, FOX45 spoke with several store owners in Owings Mills, Towson, and White Marsh, who all said juvenile crime and safety issues were the top concerns facing their businesses.
Baltimore police tonight are investigating a shooting in North Baltimore that left one woman injured. It happened just after noon today near East 35th Street. When officers arrived, they found a 24-year-old woman suffering from a non-life-threatening gunshot wound. Officials are asking anyone with information to contact police.
A 10-car crash on Interstate 95 in Harford County left 2 people hospitalized and closed 3 lanes of traffic earlier this afternoon. Right now, it's still unclear what exactly caused the crash. Fire officials tweeted that at least 20 people were checked for injuries. FOX45 will continue to follow the story and bring you updates both on air and online.
A double shooting in Baltimore County leaves one person dead and another seriously hurt. Police say 22-year-old Philip Pasingda was shot and killed in Essex yesterday afternoon. A second victim, 19-year-old man, walked into a local hospital with a gunshot wound. He is in serious condition tonight.
And David Caldwell, the Safe Streets employee facing charges after the FBI executed a search warrant at his home, along with at least one Safe Streets location, will be in court Wednesday. Fox 45 News has been investigating the Safe Streets program for years and will continue to follow this case and bring you updates on what happens in court, on air, and online. Earlier tonight, we asked you if you think Safe Streets needs to be paused until we learn more about it. So far, 84% of people say yes. It's not too late to weigh in. Just head to foxbaltimore.com/vote.
One person is dead and a U.S. Park police officer is in the hospital tonight after a shootout yesterday afternoon. That incident happening not too far from the White House. Christian Flores with our Sinclair sister station in Washington has the very latest details on the probe.
Many police sirens, and I've never heard so many police sirens before.
Chilling sounds.
She told me, "Mom, I'm okay. I'm here. I heard some gunshots."
Echoing off the buildings near the shootout between a U.S. Park police officer and a suspect.
I was scared because, like I said, my daughter is off of school, and it just really kind of shook me up because I was worried about her because I seen all the cars coming. So that's my first instinct.
According to the U.S. Park Police, a number of their officers approached a man accused of a drug crime on 12th and Massachusetts Northwest. That's Burke Park, which is under their jurisdiction. But they say the suspect ran, and one officer caught up to him. At that point, officials say the suspect pulled a gun and shot that officer multiple times, with the wounded officer returning fire, killing him. This, just the latest in a violent year in D.C.
We don't even go out anymore to go eat because we don't feel safe.
They want to stay in the house and not be outside, because you don't know if a stray gonna come through your window.
A source tells 7 News Maryland Bureau Chief Brad Bell that preliminarily, the officer was a plainclothes sergeant and is on the road to recovery.
Nobody want to be in no hospital or no facility or, you know what I'm saying, they want to be in a house with your family, enjoying your food.
People living in this community tell us this story is even more difficult to comprehend, given it all happened the day before Thanksgiving.
You don't even feel good celebrating a holiday, hearing about death and shootings and stuff like that.
U.S. Park Police are expected to release the body camera footage of the incident within the next 30 days.
And making headlines nationally, President Biden and Vice President Harris have confirmed they will attend services for former First Lady Rosalynn Carter next week. They'll be joined by their spouses on Tuesday in Atlanta for a tribute service held at Emory University for invited guests. Starting Monday, a number of ceremonies will be held across Georgia, leading up to her funeral service in Plains on Wednesday. Carter died Sunday at age 96. Her husband, former President Jimmy Carter, has been in hospice since February.
Former President Donald Trump renewed his attacks on the judge overseeing his civil fraud trial in New York. His comments shared earlier today in a wide-ranging Thanksgiving Day post on his Truth Social site. In his post, Trump called the judge a, quote, psycho and a radical left Trump-hating judge. The former president also accused the judge's law clerk of being politically biased. The post came after a gag order banning Trump from talking about the trial on social media was temporarily paused.
This is one of my favorite Baltimore Thanksgiving traditions. We're always able to do this. How I always kick off my Thanksgiving Day of serving is right here doing with B. Gaddy. We got to thank Miss Cynthia for everybody to make sure we're able to have it happen this year. Had to move it for unforeseen circumstances, but offering transportation people out here, you can see folks are enjoying themselves to a good meal and some great music.
Mayor Brandon Scott helping out at today's 42nd annual B. Gaddy Thanksgiving dinner.
It has been held at the Patterson Park Recreation Center for years, but this year it moved to a new location. Olivia Dance shows us how they celebrated Thanksgiving Baltimore style.
Happy Thanksgiving. It's the 42nd annual B. Gaddy Thanksgiving dinner. This year it is at Middle Branch Wellness and Fitness Center here in Cherry Hill. And right now I'm joined by Phil Goodwin, a staff member at B. Gaddy. Thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you for doing this. Thank you for spreading the word about this wonderful foundation.
Of course. Good to see you again and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
So I know you guys strive to prepare a traditional Thanksgiving meal. How much food are you guys preparing?
The goal is always 40 to 50,000 meals.
Wow.
That is always very difficult to attain, but it is our goal. There's lots of people out there that are hungry. This year we'll probably be a little short. We did not get the donations that we need to fulfill 40,000 meals this year.
But you guys are already collecting donations for next year.
We are
right?
collecting donations for next year. They can be delivered at 425 North Chester Street at the B. Gotti Center.
So people can, already help out for next year.
Yes, please. We always need and want more donations.
And you mentioned not getting all the donations that you guys need, but what were some of the other challenges that you guys have faced this year, just with the location change? I know a lot of people are going to be bussed in.
The location, the really difficulty is spreading the word to our guests, right? We really want to feed those that want a hot meal. And not everyone in the community that we serve has access to a cell phone or is able to read English and able to know that we've changed. So I think that is one of our biggest challenges this year.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I know I spoke with you last year. You've been doing this a long time. You actually volunteer at B. Gotti year-round.
Year-round.
Why is this all so important to you, and specifically this event as well?
So this event is important to me because this shows me the goodness in our community. This shows me that there are lots and lots of really, really good people out here wanting to do good things and do things for other people. No one here is benefiting themselves today. This is how, as a society, we show love and we lift our people up. Good things, rising tide lifts all boats. These are good people showing good things about our community so that others, hopefully, can do more good all year round.
It's amazing. So well said, and all of these volunteers here doing such great work.
Absolutely. Isn't it a beautiful sight?
It is beautiful, and thank you so much again. Happy Thanksgiving. And they're also going to be delivering a lot of these meals to senior homes all across Baltimore and also giving away coats and clothes as well. So truly an incredible cause. But for now, reporting in Cherry Hill, I'm Olivia Dance, Fox 45 News.
Olivia, thanks. Now taking a look at how people celebrated Thanksgiving across the U.S. In Nantucket, President Biden and his family jumping back into their Thanksgiving Day tradition. The president's granddaughter sharing this photo of the family's annual polar bear plunge. And over in Chicago, thousands lined up around the Loop to see the city's 89th annual Thanksgiving Day parade. A ton of fan favorite balloons returned this year, including Teddy the Turkey, Kermit the Frog, and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Also in New York, a woman said yes to a marriage proposal during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. The New York Police Department shared the big moment on social media today with videos showing the NYPD's ceremonial unit stopping their performance just in time for the engagement. On the West Coast in San Jose, California, thousands of homeless residents were given free Thanksgiving Day meals. It's all part of the city's Opening Doors outreach program. Each person got one hot plate full of all the classic Thanksgiving fixings.
Some of our Fox 45 viewers showing us how they made the most of the holiday. Christina sharing this photo of baby Rifkin. Look at that, celebrating his very first Thanksgiving. That's the cutest little turkey we've ever seen for sure.
And Karen celebrating the holiday outdoors today, showing us these two deer she found while out on a walk.
Almost didn't see that other one. And if your family has any fun Thanksgiving or holiday traditions, we would love to see them. You can scan that QR code right there on your screen. It'll take you to foxbaltimore.com, where you can upload all your photos and videos, and it's powered by Stackla.
From high gas prices to airport disruptions, it's been a roller coaster few years of travel. I'm Atrell Nashar with what you can expect for the rest of this holiday season.
And still ahead on the late edition, the ultimate gift in the season of giving. We hear from families who have received the gift of life.
And if you'll be going shopping for Black Friday tomorrow, we start with cool temperatures 39 before reaching the 50s by the afternoon. We'll have a closer look at your holiday forecast and what to expect for the rest of the weekend coming up.